Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And today we are doing another movie review of Friday the 13th, movie 2. Or the second one, or the sequel, whatever you want to say. I'll blow my nose now. Okay. Well, I think that this one was worse than the first one.
What?
Well, only reason why is because, I don't know, I think it was shorter than the first.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes shorter. So what?
And I guess if you want to think it's all about Jason, Jason isn't a ghost. He's a flesh and blood human being. He may look weird, but he's flesh and blood. I don't get how he's messed up, but we think it's him. They don't really show his quote face, as disfigured it is, until like almost the very end of the movie. So you just have this guy running around, and it's a guy because you can tell by his boots or whatever. It just doesn't look like it would be a woman, like it was his mother who was killing everybody the first movie, because his mother's dead. I mean, we saw the girl chop off his head. So anyway, he's wearing a pillow over his head.
A pillow?
A pillowcase.
No, it's a potato sack.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was a pillowcase. It kind of reminded me of the Scarecrow Walks at Midnight or something. So it was just weird. It was dark. It was really weird because if you want to talk about effects, they had a clear night. You could see the moon. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. And a little while later, it's a horrible storm. I mean, tons of rain and lightning. And then, a little while later, it's a clear night with no clouds in the sky. I thought that was kind of odd.
Well, that happens in Ohio all the time, Safi.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So you're saying, why is the movie bad? Because you just said...
Well, it's not even the original camp. It's a and this is another weird thing, a counselor training center? What the heck? It is near the old camp where Jason was. I don't know, he almost drowned and came back to life and has been, living in the woods
The training center is a part of the camp, Safi.
Oh.
It's just called a training center.
Oh. Well, I think that's dumb.
No, it's not.
To have a training center, I just think it's stupid.
Why?
Because I don't think there's any such thing.
Well, let's look it up right now. Summer Camp Counselor Training Center. Let's look up.
Okay, Marco's looking it up now. Counselor training, but that's a program that you're at the summer camp. There's no training center. I've been to camp a million times. So have you, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
There was no training center.
I don't know.
But anyway, it's kind of silly to argue about that.
Well, because you have to say, like, why is this movie bad? Because so far, all you've done is just say, like, I didn't like these couple of things, and it's bad. Like,
okay,
but why is the movie itself, like, as a whole, bad and worse than the first one?
I don't know, why is he all of a sudden starting to kill people? I mean, what is he... How long has it been between now, or when the movie's taking place, and the last movie? A year?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so. No, they said multiple times in the movie 5 years ago, so it's been 5 years. Yeah.
What's he been doing all that time?
Getting swole in the woods. Eating
Nuts
lots
and berries?
Lots of squirrels and chipmunks and
Bears.
Bambi.
I don't know. That's
But that's a part of the fun, is that, like, it's kind of like a mythical, or like it's kind of like a legend type of thing, or like a supernatural thing, like this character who's like, oh, why that person's supposed to be dead, why are they alive, why are they around at this place now? Like, it's kind of a part of the fun and the mystery, and because it's not trying to be realistic for the most part, like, it's just having fun.
Well, what's funny is, like, the last movie, I thought that the guy who was restarting the camp could have been the killer, because he was only in the beginning, and he only showed up at the end, but then the killer got to him because he smiled and he said, "Hi, how are you?" or something, like he knew who it was. And of course it was that mother, and he knew her. But in this one, everybody was dead almost. Yeah, just about. And you have the girl who's fighting him as much as she can, and then her boyfriend, who were I think they're supposed to be the head trainers of the counseling. But there was one more person who they had left back at the bar.
Yeah, and he survived.
He's the red-haired guy.
But what does that have to do with...
And I thought, is he the killer?
Oh.
Because and you never see him again.
That would have been stupid. Well, that's because he was in town.
I know, they left him in town, and I think he was so drunk he probably couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Because, remember, he had all his beers, and then he was going to go... He asked some local person, is there an after-hours bar or something like that? So he was going to do some more drinking.
Well, I kind of like that. Like, I like the fact that there was this character who just so happened to, like, not even go back to the camp. Like, he's just, because he's partying in town. And it was so funny because, there was this point where all these people could decide if they wanted to go in town, and, all these people decided to stay because they wanted to be with one person or another, and it was such a terrible decision because they got fucked up. So
then there's the gratuitous girl. I don't know
the
what
gratuitous girl.
I don't know what else. Safi,
fuck off.
She decides to go skinny dipping.
Yeah, so what?
Thinking, what?
That's good. We need more of that in movies.
Well, she was already wearing all these extra. I mean, she wore you could see her butt cheeks.
Oh no!
And then she kept wearing these little crop tops.
Oh no!
And so then this guy.
She needs to repent. Right, Safi? Is that what you're saying?
The guy comes up behind
Fuck
her,
off.
And another guy. It's another guy who's decided. And I don't even remember him from the group. But anyway, he's just teasing her. And he gets caught in a trap like I don't know, like almost an animal trap. It's like one of those little loop circles.
See, you're going all over the place. We're not even like we haven't even started the review yet, and you're just like going all over.
Okay, go ahead.
No, because like we have to both say what we thought, and then we go through the movie like in order.
Well, I thought there were a lot of scary parts.
Oh.
Maybe it wasn't as scary.
So it was a little too scary.
It was scarier than the first one.
Yeah, so it was too scary for you, and that's why you didn't like it. You got scared.
I don't know, Marco.
That really?
It was, I just don't know what's this. I don't understand how these people just pick up again. It's like they're a robot and somebody turns them on or something.
Who?
Because 5 years. 5 whole years? Sorry.
Well,
anyway.
So, Safi, now I want to say what I thought of the movie because I haven't even gotten to say that yet.
Ahead.
I think this movie's really good. It's a fun movie. It's a flawed ride though, and it's much better than the first one. I mean, it's like a million times better than the first one because it feels like an actual movie, and it feels like more complete and less amateurish, and it's not boring. I thought that the characters were likable. like, even though I can't remember most of their names, they were likable characters, and I didn't want them to get killed because they seemed just like normal, nice people, unlike the people in the first movie who were like painfully boring. The kills were better-ish, and I just thought it was a better movie, like, it in every way. Like, because you're telling me, like, you'd rather watch the first movie again?
No, that's not true. I think I would rather watch the second movie, because to see somebody's mother going after all these innocent people who, I mean, kids killed 57, or not killed, but he dies due to negligence, and she never sees him again because she said he's gone, and then it's what,
80 something.
Yeah, that's right, it is 1980, 81 or something, and it's that many years, and she's blaming all these people who probably were children when that happened, or maybe not even born.
But Safi, she was crazy.
I'll say.
She was crazy.
And for somebody who didn't want to be in the movies, she came back to be in this one too as a ghost, or not as a ghost, but I don't know.
Yeah, that was good.
Some kind of vision, or...
So I think Safi is full of shit on this one, because it was clearly better. And it's funny because she started off saying, I thought the second one was way worse, and now all of a sudden she's like, actually.
Well, when I was watching it, it kept stopping. I didn't even touch it. I don't know what was going on. It stopped like 6 times. So it really wrecked the movie for me for a while. Yeah, I didn't, and I would just...
So you're blaming the experience of watching it on why the movie's bad?
I guess so. It didn't help. And I was trying to watch it, and then there was football in the background, but it wasn't very good, or I didn't care about it. But anyway...
well, it was fun, and so it started off...
I guess so.
Well, whatever you think about it is whatever you think about it.
It's better than seeing the mother be the cause or the root of all the evil. Better to see the actual, quote, bad guy, or whatever you want to call him.
Well, so it starts off, and we see Alice, the final girl, and she's in her little apartment now. And what I liked about this opening sequence was it really showed realistically, like, what happens to these final girls. Like, they become these boring old cat ladies. Because that's exactly what happened to this character. She's now this boring, dull cat lady. And she's got terrible drawing skills. Her drawings look like shit. And... did you see her drawing, Safi?
That's when my phone was stopping.
It looked really, really bad.
And I'm thinking, I think I must have missed something with her, because of what was there, written there.
She drew a picture of herself, and it looked like something Napoleon Dynamite drew. And that's drawing is hard, but it was just very strange. It was like, why do you have these terrible pictures lying around on this set? Like, what?
Funny.
Like, what was the... Because it's goofy. It's like, it's funny and it's goofy. And so then she's making tea, and she hears noises, and then Jason is somehow there, and he kills her. Very, very shocking. I'm kind of mixed about the opening sequence, because I felt like it was just kind of like rushed and just kind of there as like, ooh, you thought she got away in the first movie? Think again. And I just thought it was kind of unnecessary. Like, and it was kind of stupid too, because how did he teleport? And people have brought this up before. And it's true, like, how did he teleport to where she is?
Because she's in a city, right? Or
yeah.
a suburb, and he's way out in the country.
Yeah. So
far away
how,
from town.
how does he just teleport there? Like, that's stupid.
Yeah. See.
What?
I didn't even see any of that.
Are you trying to prove that the movie's bad because of that?
No, I didn't even see that part anyway.
What?
So I didn't see any of that. Was she making tea? And
Ugh.
I told you the movie stopped and started, and they would just print the conversation, and you couldn't even see anything that was going on. You could just see conversation, like who's talking. And so anyway, well, that's terrible.
Yeah, I know.
I don't see why, like, to me that's a flaw, and it's unnecessary.
Well, they did it just for the shock value and just for the fact of like, oh, you thought that the survivor girl got away? Oh no, she gets killed.
Well, there's going to be, like, for the next one, now let's see what happens.
There's a survivor.
There's going to be at least one, maybe 2 or 3 survivors.
Yeah, that never.
They all get killed in the next one.
No, that kind of thing never happens again. So I think that they realized that it was kind of weird and kind of stupid, and they just stopped doing that.
That's good.
Which is good because I didn't really like that. Like, even as a kid, I really thought that was the stupidest part of the movie, and I thought it should have been cut out completely.
Well, tell me something. Did she still have her Dorothy Hamill haircut?
Safi, you watched the movie.
I didn't see that part. I told you it kept stopping.
Didn't see that part.
It stopped. It buffered. It was buffering or something. I don't know. It happens like every time, every single day it happens around that time. I don't know what's going on around where we live.
Safi,
Yes.
you're insane.
But the movie actually was made a year later, right?
A year later?
Yeah, I mean, it came out a year later.
Oh, yeah, it did.
So
Here
this
she
is
is.
supposed
Look.
to be...
Look, she's right there, Safi.
Okay. Well, it's dark.
Oh,
Okay,
so
now you can
what?
see her face. There you go.
Is that why the movie's bad? Because it's dark?
Oh, no more Dorothy Hamill haircut.
Oh, here's her
Kind of.
drawings. Safi, look at that. Look at her drawings.
Oh my god.
Look at that. Like, who... Like, that looks like a man. That looks like a man in drag.
No,
It doesn't
kind of
even
looks
look like a
Native
woman.
American with war paint on
Yeah.
the other one.
That's really weird. What do you think of that, Safi?
Let's say I didn't see any of that.
And see, I loved how accurate it was to, like, this is exactly what a final girl would end up like after these horror movies. Like, just this boring, painful, miserable, average existence where she makes tea and has a cat. And it's like, that's all that defines her now. And she's like, Mommy, I'm trying to put my life back together by being a crazy cat lady. It's really hard. Oh, I get scared of my cat sometimes too. And I keep... Oh, gross. Safi, look at this shit. This fucking crazy ass bitch keeps her Tabasco sauce out where it can get old. You're supposed to put that in the refrigerator after you open it. What the fuck is up with that?
I don't know.
That's gross. Ew.
Wow, that's old. Oh, there's the kitty.
Yeah, Safi, look,
a kitten.
there's another shitty drawing in that amongst that pile.
Teenage kitty.
Look, she's like, I'm just gonna turn on my tea and live my miserable life. Look, she even knows
She
it.
didn't have much water in the tea kettle.
And then she opens up the fridge. Oh no! Oh no, there's a chopped off head. Oh! Oh, there's another shitty drawing. Look at that. What the fuck is that?
Whoa,
the cat-
Smoke Out Alice?
The cat used it as toilet paper.
Is that the title of the movie? Oh, movie clip.
There you go, Safi.
Now the stove is on.
Oh,
he
what's
takes it off. Look at that. Does he turn
But
it on?
it's still on, though. What the... Okay, that was stupid.
Interesting. Okay, thanks for showing me, because I did not see that at all.
See, guys, Safi should have done that before the review started. So anyways, after that, we're introduced to this new camp with these new camp counselors that we know they're never going to make it to actual camp, unlike in the Sleepaway Camp series where, they're the whole movie they're at the actual camp doing actual camp stuff.
Yeah. That's right.
And they're there to train. And we're introduced to a flurry of characters like the girl with short shorts, the girl with her boyfriend, the girl with the wheelchair guy, the the guy with the little cap, the guy who is a goofball. These are characters, and you know what? They're more so characters than the people from the first movie.
Yeah, and then there's the red-haired guy.
I already said that. I said the goofball guy.
Oh, is he what would you call the guy who got caught up in the trap and was hanging by his ankles?
Oh, that guy was the bad boy guy.
Bad boy guy.
The bad boy guy. And, he has... I don't know what his name is, but, these were actual characters in comparison to the first movie, where it was just like, oh, look, there's a guy, there's a girl, there's a guy, there's a girl, and oh, look, there's the final girl, the boring one.
Yeah.
So, Safi? Oh, yeah, and then there's Paul and Jenny. And those guys are like the main people in the group. You can tell kind of that they'll be the survivor people. Although it was really...
I don't know.
Really?
It was close. But she was fighting, and he was fighting, and then you didn't know really what happened with him for a little while. Not very long, but just a little while. I thought maybe he got... Because she did something to... she hit the bad guy.
Well, I'm not jumping to the end now.
Well,
I'm just talking about these characters.
I'm just trying to think of how it looked at the end, that he was going to be living or not. It was really hard to say. It looked pretty good. She was really like that other girl, fighting to stay alive, and it even looked more natural than before.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was more set up and contrived than in the first one. And the second one looked more natural. I don't know, but anyway, she fought too. And that was good. It's just I just hate when they just stand there and they take it, and they don't do anything.
Well, what do you mean? Give me an example of that in this movie.
Well, the girl with the short, dark hair that changed her underwear.
Yeah, that was really hilarious. Like, there's this part where she just changes her underwear and then she puts on perfume. Like,
Yes.
that was bizarre. But it was good because it can't happen in movies anymore.
I was just waiting for the bear to come because they had this
The
big
bear.
spiel. Oh yeah, at the beginning, they had this big spiel about don't wear perfume because that attracts bears, and we have a bear problem.
She put on perfume.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, now they're going to show a
But
bear coming. Of course, no.
What if Jason turned into a bear?
That would be interesting. And then what was the other thing? Oh, he talked about, oh God, it was really gross. Girls and their periods and how to make sure everything's all cleaned up because that attracts bears too. And I'm like, oh my God.
What?
I've never heard that before, but you
Really?
just never know. And just all the stuff. But anyway, I just thought it was, when she did the thing with the perfume, I thought, oh my God, now they're going to have a bear come. But no, just Jason. I guess he's kind of part bear or something.
And then Ralph gets killed too. Ralph comes back. He gets killed. And his character just kind of was there. Which, it was cool to see him again. It's just that there wasn't much to him once again. It was just kind of like, he's the crazy guy.
I think there was less to him than before, actually.
Really?
I think he was on screen more last time. More times and longer when he was on. And now, this time, it was just like really
Well, I mean,
short.
it's kind of hilarious how he says to stay away from this camp, and then he goes to the camp and just watches the people in the camp. It's like, if you don't if you don't think you should go to this camp, why are you at the camp?
Yeah, I agree.
And then I thought a cool part was the whole campfire story, where Paul talked about Jason and the myth of Jason at the campfire. I thought that was really cool. That was like a classic horror movie scene.
I wonder if he was listening.
Probably. And there were lots of parts, or just a couple of parts, I guess, where it felt more like a summer camp movie than the first one. The first one never felt like a summer camp movie, because they don't even do any camp stuff. They're just setting things up for camp. In this movie, they have a couple of parts where at least it kind of feels like a camp movie, a little bit, a little tiny bit, like a sliver. But it is what it is. It's not high art, Friday the 13th. But it's a good movie, in my opinion. It's just the plot is simple. People get killed, and that's it.
And there might be a survivor or two, maybe, at the end.
And this time they won't be boring. Right, Safi?
I guess they don't have any time to be boring, because he pretty much wipes them off the map as soon as they show up. In all kinds of various ways.
Well, Safi, what do you have to say? Because did you like those characters? Did you think that they were good characters, or...
Yeah, I thought they were. I thought they were nice people.
Better than Alice from the first movie?
Well,
or did you like her better?
To her. She was pretty... Talking about the Dorothy Hamill haircut girl.
Yeah.
She was just... I liked that she was trying to survive. And I think that's horrible. She's in her own home, and she gets attacked from somebody who appears from who knows how many miles away.
Yeah, I mean, that was almost like...
obvious way for him to get back and forth.
That was almost like an SNL skit. Like, oh, we have the people from the movie that survived in their apartments, and then Jason is there all of a sudden, and he kills them. Like, that feels like it would be like a comedy skit.
What did he do? Walk there? Run there?
I don't know.
Is he a runner?
Yeah, well, he does run in this movie for sure. He runs back and forth.
He didn't seem to have too much trouble either. And this is all with a thing over his head.
He's not like Michael Myers, where he's just like...
clopping along.
Yeah.
Clod, clop, clop. Like Frankenstein.
Like you. Well, that's the weird part, is that in certain movies, he's not running. He walks around really slowly. Like, it goes back and forth. Like, they don't keep that consistent because they know that the fans won't care, I guess. I don't know.
That's cool.
Well, Safi?
Okay, I don't know what else to say about it. The poor guy in the wheelchair, I mean, he's a real sitting duck, and that's literally, he's in that wheelchair, and he's looking for the girl who changed her underwear.
Well, and it was stupid, too, because if you're talking about, like, the mom's reasoning for killing these kids, which is pretty much non-existent. I mean, there's no logical reason to be killing these kids. The wheelchair guy, if he was in a situation where he was, like, close by and he saw that a kid was drowning, all that he could physically do is yell at other people to get their attention. Like, he couldn't actually go over there and physically rescue Jason, since his legs are paralyzed. So,
and he says that too. He explains it all. How he got it and what was wrong with him.
So the fact that, like, Jason still kills him, it's like, oh, it's obviously now more about the fact that people killed his mother. And so now he's mad at people for that. Which, the one thing that I would say is, in the first movie, what was the deal with him grabbing Alice? Like, was that actually him grabbing her? Because he aged pretty fast.
Well, that's why I said. That's why I want to know how, because the movies were made a year apart, or who knows? Because I don't know how long it took, how much time it took to make the second movie, like 30 days or 6 months. They went from the first to the second pretty fast. And but then you said though, when they were telling the campfire story, that it had been 5 years.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how old he's supposed to be at the camp when he originally had problems in the water. Was he 12?
Yeah.
Was he 14?
Yeah.
So if he was, let's say, 14, and he's not a very good swimmer, and it's 5 years later, that would mean he's 19.
No, but the original incident happened in the 50s. So,
oh, yeah.
How did he not age by 1980, and then how did he age so fast by 81? Or was that a hallucination? Like, I don't understand.
See, I just think you can't even think about stuff like that, because then you get, it just...
Yeah, turn off your brain. It's a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, you can't really...
Pretend like it's good, like the first one, which wasn't.
The thing with the girl at the beginning, where he's coming in from the countryside, he doesn't have wings, he's not a vampire, he doesn't turn into a bat, so how does he get there? I mean, that's something that's just too different and inexplicable. So,
well, see, in the game, it's fine with me, the video game, because in the video game, he explicitly has the power to teleport.
Oh.
So, it's like, who cares?
Oh.
It's believable. But in this,
not in this one.
It's not stated that he has teleporting abilities.
But if they're saying it's been 5 years since the mom did all of her bad crimes, what has he been doing for the last 5 years?
I don't know.
They don't.
There's been fan fictions and shit.
Well, I know that, but they don't say anything. It doesn't sound like anything's been going on. People have been getting murdered every so often, right? Or disappearing or whatever.
I think it's funny because I think with the Saw series, we were a lot more positive towards it than we expected. And I think that towards the Friday the 13th series will be like exactly the opposite.
I don't know. It's
because it's like, this is a good movie. It's a good horror movie, but it's not great. It's just good.
I guess it's short and sweet, and it is... I think it's kind of scarier than
it is scarier.
One.
It's a lot more... Because
suspenseful.
Jason, you know that he's there. You know that he's the killer, and you can see the potato sack face. It's a lot scarier than just seeing point of view shots with some unknown killer in the first movie.
Right, and and those kills happen very quickly. They're like in and out. And then this one is a little bit more drawn out on each one.
Yeah.
And then of course you have the people who fight back at the end instead of just stand there and throw up their arms and go, ah!
Well, when did they do that in this movie?
Well, the girl who's in bed with the boy, and she sees, because she's got her head facing towards the door, but his head is backwards to the door, so she could see, and she just remains in her position. It's like,
because there's nothing she can do.
Well, I guess so. And then you have a wheelchair guy. Well,
there's nothing he can do.
There's not much he can do. He's sitting in there. He's looking for this girl, and you see the back of his head, and you have the camera getting, as if that's the person, getting closer and closer, and then a hatchet falls into his head, and he falls down these steps, a flight of like stone steps, outdoor stone steps, in his wheelchair with a hatchet in his head.
I think what's really funny is the myth of these movies that, like, if you have sex that you get killed, and if you do drugs, you get killed, and the people who don't do those things don't get killed. Because, like, they say that, like, Jason, like, there was this whole formula where if you have sex, you get killed, and you do drugs, you get killed. But in this movie, that's not really the case. Like,
well, it can't be, because the wheelchair guy and the underwear girl
they didn't do anything.
Nothing happened. They didn't even get together, or hardly at all. They just played handheld video games.
The girl with the short shorts didn't. She just went swimming.
Yeah, she just went swimming.
It's like the equivalent of taking a bath naked and everything. And
that guy just the trickster guy. He just came and stole her clothes, and then...
Yeah, he just pulled a little prank on her. So, like, these people aren't doing anything wrong, and it's like there's this myth that, like, in all these horror movies in the 80s, it's just like people who do drugs and have sex get killed. I have a hard time believing that based on this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that that's kind of stupid. I mean... Maybe that's true for the other movies in the series, like the other sequels, which we'll find out, but I don't really think so, because it would be kind of repetitive if you just had a movie where everybody has sex and then they get killed, and then everybody does drugs or they get killed. You know, like, if you just had those two scenarios play out over and over again, it would be really repetitive and dull. But then again, a lot of modern horror movies are pretty repetitive and dull.
Yeah. They're just...
Like Terrifier 2.
Oh, God. That thing's... trash.
Safi?
Well, I don't know what else
should
to
we
say.
do the food review?
Oh, boy. God, you go ahead.
Well, this movie's just, it's a fun time. It's a fun but flawed ride, which is a very common occurrence on this channel. I really thought about, when watching the movie, that this is just, you have to give it something fun that is just very, like, simple and something that, you know, you've had before, kind of, like, and so I felt like in elementary school, sometimes they would do a foot-long hot dog days.
Really?
And you get a foot-long hot dog with corn and beans. And it was just like kind of like a fun thing that, like, they didn't do all the time, but it was good. That's what this movie is. It's not like the greatest thing ever. It's not like a masterpiece, you know, movie, but it's a really good horror movie. It's a good meal. It's a good thing, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to give it, because it's a camp-related movie, I think I'll give it a s'more. And one of those meat packs.
Meat
with
packs?
Meat and
Ew.
hamburger, a potato.
Those hobo
and
things.
I don't know.
And what she's talking about is you take this ground beef and you put it in tin foil with chopped up carrots and onion and potato, and you put it over a fire, and then you eat it like a hobo.
Yeah, and I don't remember anybody putting any spices on it, but I'm just thinking about going to camp, and
Okay.
I went to Girl Scout camp several years in a row. We never had that. That, like, when I talk about that hobo thing, that's like a Boy Scout thing.
Well, we didn't have that at Boy Scout camp, though.
Well,
We had gross food. Now, Boy Scout camp was trash, and we had this gross food that was forced on us in this, like, it was like a food hall thing, and the food was gross, and they forced you to eat it, and they would complain if you didn't eat certain things, or, like, you didn't like certain things. They would complain and get mad at you for not eating their gross food.
well, strangely, after those several years I did that, I don't really remember what we ate in the building. where all the campers ate. I would just remember we would, have s'mores or something like outside, away from the building. I think we had oatmeal for breakfast. It's really hard. I can't remember. It's just that we were all in these little units, and so each unit would be responsible for the dinner or lunch or breakfast chores, and they would have these little popsicle sticks in a cup, and it would have the name of a chore: do dishes, clear the table, and each person got a stick, and they would have to do that particular chore. But anyway, the food that we had, and even when I was just doing Girl Scouts during the year at school, sometimes we'd have something like a s'more, like we went to a park or something, and it's just it's a camp kind of food, and it's simple, and the movie's simple. It's a lot scarier, or more. There's more suspense because you're thinking, like, is this Jason? Because he's got this bag over his head during the entire movie, except at the very end, because there's, like he said, there's a girl and a guy. They're in charge of the camp. Well, she wants to see. She's just attacked because he was trying to kill her, whatever he is, her boyfriend or her co-worker, and she hits him, and so she grabs his mask. Well, they don't show his face right away. They wait until they leave, and then they're in a place, and then he puts his head through the window. Then you get to see both sides of his face. One side kind of looks, quote, kind of normal.
Kind of like, and then the other side looks like you.
The other side looked like it was a disaster. So that was weird.
I thought I heard you laughing at that part.
I don't know.
Did you laugh at that part, or were you scared?
I wasn't scared. I thought they'd get away.
Oh.
I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, the movie opens up with that girl who did everything she could to survive and fought and fought and fought, and then she's at home way far away from the place, and she gets killed in her own kitchen making tea with her cat. And it's bizarre. So I don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's why I just gave it a simple s'more, which actually sounds good. I don't think I've had one this year.
No.
So we used to, Marco, every fall, they would have this Boy Scout get-together at this, outside of this church, and they had this area, they had a big campfire area. Or we would go to, I don't know what you call the person, den leader or something. They go to their house and they would have stuff to make a s'more. So we would have, if we didn't do it at home, we would have it at one of these activities at least once a year.
And there were so many kids that you just get like a fourth of a s'more. It was a fourth, because usually what I do is I have like a square graham cracker, which is like 4 squares combined into one square. But at these meetups, it would just be you get one of the 4 squares. And so I call it like a fourth of a s'more.
Mm. Yeah, but it just, whatever it turned out to be, it was always like once a year in the fall. And so anyway, that's what I call it. So, because it's a camp fair, and even though they never even got to do any, I don't know what they were, I really don't know what this training was going to be, what they were going to do, but they never even got a chance to do it. This was like the night before they were going to really get into it and start.
Yeah.
He was just laying, when they all showed up, the head of it just kind of laid out the rules and the groundwork and the things not to do. Like I said about the perfume and the bears, which kind of surprised me because I don't remember in the last one ever hearing anything about bears.
And it's funny too because like Jason prevented these people from undergoing their training. Like, and the fact that he's alive too, that means that like they did nothing wrong because they didn't. He was never killed.
Right.
So he survived and disappeared into the forest. So this whole like story has been built on lies.
Well, I don't even know why they talk about bears. I think that was unnecessary.
Really?
It doesn't even look like an area where there would be bears.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's never a bear in a single Friday the 13th movie.
Really?
So.
Just to me, it's like something they put in because they thought it should be there. So. Because when we would go to camp, I would go to camp. The biggest thing that we had to worry about were copperheads. It's a big copperhead area, and it still is today. And a rattlesnake area, but we didn't have them at our camp. But the area now, today, there's rattlesnakes in the area, so that's something you might want to worry about. The copperheads aren't as bad as rattlesnakes. Oh, and water moccasins in the water, which are not good either. Poisonous. So, okay, well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. Have you seen these movies? Have you seen all of the Friday the 13th movies? Have you seen the latest Saw movie yet? We will be reviewing that very, very soon. So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.